If I told you, if I told you just half of everything I've always wanted to.
Welcome back, Camille. Today is December 15th, 2021. Being the sentimental person that I am, I often spend this time reflecting on the past year. All the trials I faced and the lessons they taught me. I started out this year in a pretty low place. January 2021 had marked 5 months since my husband took his life. The shock had just fully wore off. I was in such deep emotional pain, but being the person that I am, I'd never let it show. After sharing my life on the internet for 4 years, it just became second nature to only let people see what I wanted them to see. Some were suspicious about how fine I had seemed to be doing. They'd say, "She must have not really cared about him. Look how happy she is now." Or, "She's handling it so well. She's so strong." Little did they know, right? The only people who could really see through my facade were my family, and that's simply because they knew better. They weren't aware of my husband's substance abuse problem until after the fact, when I finally came clean about what had really been going on behind the happy family photos. They knew I had years of experience in telling little white lies to hide big, ugly truths. And my big, ugly truth was that I wasn't okay. In retrospect, I don't know why I thought I had to be. If there was ever a time where no one expected me to be okay, it was then. I mean, I had just became a widow at 19, but after hiding for so long, I just didn't know how to let people in anymore. So my family kept me close in fear I'd meet the same fate that Landon did. They sensed something was off. I was quiet and stoic most of the time. Everyone was tiptoeing around me. There was this unspoken fear that one day I would just break. They saw me as the fragile, empty shell that I was at the time. I hated being seen that way just as much as I hated feeling that way. No one knew how to talk to me or what to say. I don't blame them. I don't know what I'd say to me either. By mid-January, what they were fearing all along inevitably became a reality. I no longer had it in me to hold it all together. After months of doing what I could to heal my wounds, of struggling to face each of the harrowing memories that weighed heavy on my broken heart, it became unbearable. I merely gave up. Consequently, my attempts to cope became increasingly self-destructive. I'd do anything to simply not endure my grief. At the time, I was overflowing with anger at what he had done, the betrayal of it all. In my own deranged way, I was trying to punish him, acting out in ways I knew he would have hated. I used to always get on to Landon for smoking nicotine. I begged him to quit so many times. But still, this January, I tried it for the first time and quickly grew addicted. In a way, it made me feel closer to him. I now knew what he meant when he told me quitting wasn't as easy as I had thought. I felt sorry for being so hard on him. As the following months passed me by, I felt a deeper understanding towards him. He just wanted to numb it. I wondered if he knew that all those heavy feelings would be passed on to me. Nevertheless, it's a load I felt like I deserved to carry. He had suffered enough and was no longer feeling all this weight. It was my turn. Losing someone to suicide comes with a looming guilt. Anyone who's ever meant something to that person will feel it to some extent. So as his person, the one he chose to spend a great deal of his life with, every little what if haunted me. I had 5 years worth of memories with him, and I thought over every move I made in our relationship, wondering what I could have possibly done different that might have changed the outcome, as if knowing how to do so would actually change anything at all. Reasonably, I knew it wasn't my fault, and there was nothing I could have done to stop him. Yet, I tortured myself for it. I went from numbing the pain to feeling every bit of it in the worst way. I convinced myself that I didn't deserve anything good. By March, all my reckless decisions had caught up to me. My life felt like it was falling apart at the seams. Nothing was going right, and I had no one to blame but myself. I was in a deep, dark, lonesome hole of self-pity. I thought about ending it, but I didn't even think I was worthy of the relief. I created this mess. I deserved nothing more but to suffer through it. Besides, in doing so, I would just be putting my pain upon everyone else. They would all feel just as I'm feeling, asking themselves the same what ifs. They didn't deserve that. My daughters didn't deserve to be without any parents left on this earth. I was all they had. I knew that if I was going to stick around, I needed to be better. So for their sake, I went and got some real help. I spent 30 days away from them in a rehab facility. It was hard getting the help that I felt like Landon needed. It should have been him there, not me. But slowly, I learned to let go. I let go of all the guilt and the shame and the what ifs. There's no changing the past. My only choice was to accept it. I had been so hard on myself for little mistakes I made as a lost teenage girl who had too much responsibility put on her. I came to realize that we were both just doing the best we could at the time. We didn't know what we were doing or the consequences of our misguided decisions, and I didn't deserve to suffer for that. I started to see the value my life held, all the potential that was ahead of me. I started living not just for my daughter's sakes, but for mine as well. I came back a month later as a changed person. Everyone started treating me like normal again. I started to feel normal again, and I was now mourning him in a new way, in a shameless way, a loving way, a healthy way. I still had a lot to learn, but I was finally trying. For months to follow, I carried on, growing into a person I actually felt proud of. I was finding out who I truly am, and I'm still doing so. I am so fortunate to have met such a supporting partner to be on that journey with me. Cameron has been by my side, cheering me on as we both make an effort to figure ourselves out. At first, I questioned if it was possible to work on yourself while in a relationship. Would he get in the way? Would he distract me from my personal growth? These are questions I needed to consider. But I've come to learn that the right person only helps you along the way as you do the work for yourself. We always encourage each other to reach our goals and stay true to our values. Now I sit here, looking back on the last 12 months, and I truly can't believe how far I've come. It hasn't been easy by any means, but it's sure been worthwhile. Don't get me wrong, this stage of my life is still really difficult and complicated. But knowing each struggle pushes me closer and closer to being my best self makes it that much easier. I love my life and all the chaos that comes along with it. And after going through all that I have, I know I can make it through anything. The biggest lesson that I've learned in this last year is that life is fleeting. All we have is here and now. Cherish it. Live in the moment because you'll never get these moments back. It's cliche, and you've heard it all before, but it has never felt more true to me. I wish so badly that I was living that way with Landon when I had the chance to. I regret being so wrapped up in the little things. Looking back, we had each other, and that's all that really mattered. Take a step back and look at all the love and beauty you get to experience in this life. Breathe it in. Appreciate it. Bask in it. Live it.